My parents gave me up for adoption at 8 years old because I was a girl. When I inherited my adoptive father's fortune, my biological father showed up. When I was 8 years old, my biological parents gave me away. My crime? Being born a girl. 26 years later, my adoptive father James left me his entire fortune when he passed away. $4.7 million, his life's work, his legacy, everything. The ink was barely dry on the will when the man who threw me away showed up at my door with his hand out. I grew up in Portland with my biological father Henry, my mother Diane, and 2 older brothers, Kevin and Marcus. From the outside, we looked like the perfect family. Nice house in the suburbs, 2 cars, family dinners, church on Sundays, but inside, everything revolved around sons, everything, always. My father came from a traditional Chinese family where daughters were temporary, disposable, property that would belong to someone else's family eventually. Why waste resources on a girl? I once heard him tell my grandmother. When I brought home straight A's from school, perfect report cards, honor roll, teacher praise, he nodded, barely looked up from his newspaper. When my brothers brought home B's, he threw parties, took them out for ice cream, bragged to relatives on the phone. No point making a big production for a girl, I heard him tell Uncle Wei on my 8th birthday. She'll just get married and leave anyway, not worth the investment. That night I cried myself to sleep, clutching a $20 bill he'd given me. That was my entire birthday celebration. $20 and a dismissive pat on the head. My brothers got bikes, gaming systems, trips to Disneyland. I got $20 and the understanding that I didn't matter. Then my mother got pregnant again. 4th pregnancy, 4th chance. My father was certain it would be another son. Absolutely convinced. He'd consulted fortune tellers, done calculations, prayed to ancestors. He painted the nursery blue before the ultrasound, bought tiny sports jerseys in newborn sizes, declared his unborn boy would be a great athlete, a scholar, a son to make the Chang family proud. The Chang family needs more strong boys, relatives would say at gatherings, nodding, agreeing, looking at me like I was a mistake that needed correcting. I stood in corners at these gatherings, invisible, serving tea, clearing plates, the girl who didn't count. When my baby brother Daniel was born, my father's joy was explosive, volcanic, all-consuming. Expensive cigars passed out at work, hundreds of photos, calls to everyone in his contact list, a banquet at the best Chinese restaurant in Portland with 80 guests. I watched from the kids' table, 8 years old, forgotten, but 3 months later, everything changed, everything shattered. Daniel was diagnosed with a severe developmental disorder, autism, epilepsy. He would need constant care, expensive treatments, specialists, therapies, medications, a lifetime of support and intervention. The joy died instantly, replaced by something darker, colder, more dangerous. My father's pride turned to rage, to blame, to desperation. This is punishment, he told my mother one night. I was supposed to be asleep, but I heard everything through the thin walls. For wanting too much, for being greedy. Heaven is punishing us. He started drinking, gambling, disappearing for days at the casino, coming home at dawn smelling like cigarettes in desperation. The medical bills piled up. $50,000, $80,000, $120,000. Insurance denied claims. Credit cards maxed out. Second mortgage on the house. The family fell apart, piece by piece, day by day. One afternoon in November, cold and gray and miserable, my father sat me down at the kitchen table, just the 2 of us. My mother was at the hospital with Daniel. My brothers were at after-school activities. We can't afford to keep everyone, he said. No preamble, no cushioning, just cold facts. Daniel needs all our resources. Every dollar, every minute, you understand? I was 8 years old. I didn't understand, couldn't understand. What do you mean? We're giving you up, to the state. Foster care. You'll have a chance at a better life, a life where you're not a burden. 2 weeks later, a social worker named Mrs. Patterson came to the house. Kind eyes, sad smile, clipboard full of forms. My mother packed my things, 1 suitcase, crying but not stopping, not fighting, not protecting me. This is what's best, she kept saying, over and over, like a mantra, like if she said it enough times it would become true. You'll understand when you're older. This is best for everyone. My father didn't even say goodbye, wasn't even home. He was at the casino, gambling away what little money we had left, avoiding the moment he'd created. I left with Mrs. Patterson, left my home, left my family, left everything I knew. My brothers didn't even come out of their rooms. I spent 6 months in foster care, limbo, purgatory, hell. Different homes, different families, different rules, never staying long enough to feel safe, never unpacking completely because I knew I'd be moving again soon. Some homes were okay, some were terrible, some were nightmares I still dream about, until James Wilson. He was a widower in his mid-50s, successful businessman who'd made his fortune in commercial real estate, no children of his own. His wife had died of cancer 5 years earlier. He walked into the group home where I was staying, a converted Victorian house with 15 other kids, and something clicked, something shifted. Tell me about yourself, Anna, he said gently, sitting across from me in the common room. Actually interested, actually listening. I told him I liked math, that I wanted to be an engineer someday, that I liked building things, solving problems, making things work. His eyes lit up. Actually, lit up. That's wonderful. The world needs more women engineers, needs more people who think like you. No one had ever said that to me before, ever, in my entire life. James adopted me 3 months later, February 14th, Valentine's Day. He joked that it was fitting, the day he gained the daughter he'd always wanted. He didn't just give me a home, he gave me a future, a life, a chance. Piano lessons because I'd mentioned once that I thought pianos were beautiful. Math tutors when I struggled with geometry. College prep courses, SAT classes, encouragement at every step. You're brilliant, he'd say when I brought home report cards. Every time, without fail. Never let anyone tell you otherwise. Never doubt yourself. He attended every school event, every science fair, every debate tournament, every graduation, front row, camera ready, beaming with pride. He walked me through my first breakup, taught me to drive, helped me pick colleges, celebrated when MIT accepted me early decision. He was the father I'd always needed, the father I'd always deserved. I graduated MIT with honors, bachelor's and master's in aerospace engineering, started my career at Boeing, then SpaceX, rising through ranks, making things fly, making dreams real. James was there for everything, every promotion, every achievement, every milestone. When he got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, stage 4, inoperable, terminal, I took a leave of absence from work, moved back home to care for him. You didn't have to do that, he said from his hospital bed, voice weak, body failing. Your career, yes I did. You're my dad. This is what family does. He squeezed my hand, smiled that gentle smile. I'm so proud of you, so grateful. You were never a burden, Anna. You were always my greatest joy. 2 weeks later, he was gone, slipped away peacefully in his sleep with me holding his hand. His lawyer, Richard, called me in for the reading of the will. Formal office, mahogany desk, leather chairs. James had left me everything, his entire estate, the house, the investment portfolio, the real estate holdings, $4.7 million total. He was very specific, Richard said, sliding papers across the desk. It all goes to Anna Wilson, his daughter, his only heir. No conditions, no restrictions. It's yours. I cried, reading his final letter to me. Handwritten, 2 pages, his shaky handwriting from the final weeks. My dearest Anna, you were never a burden. You were never second choice. You were always my greatest joy, my proudest achievement. Use this inheritance to build something beautiful, to help people who were like you once, to make the world better. I love you forever. Dad. 3 days after the will was finalized, 3 days after my life changed, my doorbell rang at 7 p.m. I opened it to find Henry Chang standing there, older now, grayer, thinner, but the same cold eyes, the same cruel mouth. Anna, he said, smiling, fake warmth. Or should I call you daughter? My stomach turned, acid rising. What do you want? I heard about your inheritance. Congratulations. I thought we should talk. Reconnect. You know, family. We have nothing to talk about. Me into my house, into the entryway. Uninvited. Unwelcome. I'm still your father. Biologically. Legally. I have rights to 26 years ago when you signed the papers. He smiled, cruel and calculated. Practiced. Your mother and I are struggling, barely keeping our heads above water. Family helps family, Anna. That's how it works. You're not my family. DNA is DNA. And I think a judge would agree that a daughter, a successful daughter with millions, has an obligation to help her struggling biological father and disabled brother immediately. From my bedroom while Henry waited downstairs. He has no legal claim, Richard assured me. Voice certain, confident. Shin severed all legal ties, completely. He's legally no different from a stranger. But Henry didn't stop. Emails, phone calls, showing up at my office building, waiting in the lobby, following me to my car. Always the same message. You owe me. I'm your real father. Blood matters. Then he escalated. Hired a cheap lawyer from a strip mall. Some guy with a stained tie and a desperate look. They threatened to contest James's adoption. Claimed coercion. Claimed I'd been taken illegally. Claimed James had manipulated a vulnerable child. All lies. All desperate attempts to get money. I'd had enough. Done being polite. Done being patient. I arranged a meeting. Richard's conference room. Formal. Recorded. Henry and his lawyer on one side of the table. Richard and I on the other. I have one offer, I said calmly, looking Henry directly in the eyes. One, take it or leave it. Henry leaned forward, eager, greedy. I'm listening. Pay for addiction counseling for your gambling problem. 12 weeks. Fully covered. Best facility in Oregon. That's it. That's all. Henry's face went red. Furious. You ungrateful little... I'm not finished, I interrupted. Voice cold, controlled. It's the only financial assistance you'll ever receive from me. Ever. Because James taught me that being a father is about love, not DNA, about showing up, not biology. I leaned forward, matching his posture, holding his gaze. You contributed DNA, sperm, nothing more. You fed me for 8 years, then threw me away when I became inconvenient. You have no claim on me, my success, or my inheritance. None. His lawyer started to speak. I held up my hand. Any further contact, any letters, calls, visits, or legal threats will result in a restraining order and very public legal action. I will file harassment charges, countersue for emotional distress. I will make sure everyone knows exactly what you did, how you abandoned an 8-year-old girl to save money, stood to leave, gathering my papers, my dignity, my power. I'm Anna Wilson, James Wilson's daughter, and I owe you nothing. 6 months later, I opened the James Wilson Foundation for Family Building, non-profit, tax-exempt, fully funded. The first project, an apartment complex for young adults who aged out of foster care, 20 affordable units, a community center, on-site counseling, job placement services, mentorship programs. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, I spoke about James, about love, about choice. Family isn't defined by blood, I said to the crowd of donors and residents and press. It's defined by choice, by showing up day after day for the people you love, by sacrifice, by presence, by caring when it's hard. The ribbon on the building that bore his name, the James Wilson Family Center, beside me, smiling.